Coach, your thoughts on tonight's performance?
Well, it goes without saying that the first half display was absolutely sensational from the group. And when you take into consideration the amount of changes, the change in team shape, but the output and the professionalism of the group to give that sort of display with just 2 days of preparation is remarkable. These guys, for me tonight, are absolute heroes. They've put so much into that. There was always going to be a period. It came in the second half. Understandably, players were committed forward in the Houston group, and this is not an easy place to come and get a result, a victory. They have a fantastic home record for a reason, and they have a lot of very, very talented guys. And after the goal was conceded, I did feel that there was a very, very important 5 or 6 minutes coming up, and if we could just navigate that, then we might be able to see it through, and we did just that. But in the process, we saw 3 or 4 unbelievable 1v1 opportunities, and to be quite honest, we may well have extended our lead ourselves.
We will open now the floor for questions. We will begin with a question from Tim Sullivan with For Club and Country.
Gary, you mentioned the change of shape there. Was that just a matter of the players you had available? Was that something that you specifically saw in the previous game against Houston, or what was kind of the main decision behind that?
Well, we've had some issues with guys and their health. You see tonight so many changes to try and give the group a shot in the arm of energy. They put a tremendous amount in to that Kansas game at the weekend with 10 men. So, I felt it was a big opportunity for some guys that have not seen the field as much, and they came up trumps. But to your point, I just felt that the guys we had available, the shape actually lent itself better to the group than necessarily trying to fit them into a shape that might have been a little bit more awkward for 1 or 2 individuals. And they took every single facet of playing in this 3-4-3 shape, to a T. Defensively, they looked sound, and we obviously gave ourselves some exceptional attacking moments.
Ray Hills with the
Gary, in terms of Mukhtar, he was involved in all 3 goals. Obviously, even with Abu's goal, he pretty much, with that give and go with Taylor, took out Houston's right back so Taylor could get that clear cross to Abu. Is there something, whether him tracking back defensively or even offensively, that he could have completed his game, or was his performance tonight the epitome of what you want him as your number 10 to be out there on the field?
I think he's spot on, Drake. His performance tonight was where I think he would like it to be for sure, and knows he's capable of. And of course, everyone else, coaches and players alike, he's an inspiration when he plays in that way. It wasn't just the goals, and both goals were terrific, by the way. Very different goals, of course, but they gave us such a boost. It was his general play. He played with enthusiasm, energy. It was a spark for the team, and as I said, he was an inspiration for the other guys around him. And on nights like tonight, it's so very important that some of your top talent and your top creators come up trumps, and he certainly did that tonight.
Ben Wright with Broadway Sports.
Yeah, Gary, this is the first match I believe that we've seen without one of McCarty or Godoy starting. What did you make of the midfield pairing of LaGrassa and Anunga, and how they were able to really get the ball forward?
Well, I thought that was sensational, absolutely sensational. There were some very, very important ingredients in that midfield with the pair of them, and I think they ticked the boxes. And it wasn't necessarily going to be a game where they were going to get on the ball and dictate and really run the show in there with possession. But it was going to take a lot of energy. It was going to take a really determined effort. It was going to take a lot of patience and a lot of belief in what they could do as a pairing. And they were helped, with Alex on that right-hand side, dropping in as we got into a deeper line. And of course, Derek towards the end. But the industry that those pairs showed was absolutely phenomenal. You know, for Brian to turn around from the weekend and give the type of output that he's given the group tonight is, as I said, sensational. I thought the pair of them were absolutely magnificent in there.
Tim Sullivan with a follow-up question.
Gary, you finally unleashed Jhondder Cadiz on the world. What did you think of his performance in his debut for the club?
Well, listen, Jhonder's working through, you know, his integration in the group and getting back to what we would class as a match fitness scenario. And tonight's performance gives him 20 odd minutes, 23, 24 minutes to, you know, to try and build that base. He looked, you know, physically very capable. He's a mobile boy as well. Once he gets a little sharper and more up to speed, you can see that he's got that trick and that disguise to go beyond someone and a turn of pace. So, you know, everything that we all saw in Jhondder, I think he saw in very small doses there. And he's obviously not fully fit athletically, but great to see him in the group. Again, a really big lift for all the other guys out there and around the team. And you can imagine that the fellas in the locker room tonight are absolutely, you know, bowled over with their performance and excited about what comes next now.
Craig Hills.
We talked about earlier, obviously, Taylor's performance, but what do you think of just the jobs and the responsibility that Taylor and Eric had, obviously going forward, but putting in the effort defensively to help out against Lassiter and Quintero? Obviously, Quintero got the goal, but it seemed that as if, especially in the first half, there really wasn't any space for them to do what they do best. What did you think about both wingbacks and the effort that they had to put in tonight?
The wingback role in this system is probably the most difficult to try and nail down. And again, I couldn't be more complimentary about the efforts that those two guys have shown. Neither of them have played that shape this year in the group. Taylor has played in that system for me in USL, so he had a bit of an understanding, and Eric has in other teams. But where you get the pressure on, how deep you're going to drop, how you feel you can dictate to the opposing team, really gives the group the type of platform to either be, you know, a midfield possession team or repossession team, or you end up being a back five consistently. And those two guys got themselves on the front foot. They showed a lovely balance, I felt, of attacking quality. Of course, Taylor supplies the second goal, but Eric showed, you know, enough in his game in an attacking sense to keep his opponent on his toes. And it unbalances groups that play in the shape that Houston have. It's not an easy area for them to press if we can get on the ball. But defensively, you know, I thought the pair of them were almost flawless.
Ben Wright.
Yeah, Gary, against Sporting Kansas City last weekend, we saw a really good performance from Randall Leal, and it seemed like he kind of kept that up when he came on in the second half. He had some really good runs. What have you made of him in the last 2 weeks?
Well, again, yes, his performance was very decent at the weekend, but I think limited to a large degree because of going down a man. I honestly felt as though his Minnesota performance was up there with his best displays. He played in that withdrawn role. And in this system, again, he has more freedom to roam, to pick up, you know, awkward pockets in areas against the opposing defence. And what we know is Randall's never going to lack energy. He works both sides of the ball. He's constantly trying to help his pals when he doesn't have it. But he's also, as we saw tonight, when he gets caught in 1v1 situations, you know, I think he's as good as most players in 1v1 situations in this league. However, what I will say is consistently he hasn't done that. So therefore, the key for Randall, and obviously for myself and the team, is that we get him in those positions more often. And he grows in confidence, and slowly but surely, he becomes the individual that he knows he is, we know he can produce, and a match winner for us. and I think he's really unfortunate not to get himself on the score sheet tonight.
Tim Sullivan.
Gary, the games have been coming fast and furious. With a little bit longer of a break, how important is getting that extra rest? And then in terms of the guys who were unable to go tonight, do you expect to have most of them back with that extra rest?
Yeah, I mean, a big part of the decision-making process tonight was to offer guys like Dax and Lovitz the opportunity to really rest and not put them in a position where they were going to, put themselves at risk with injury. We've been able to do that. There have been other guys, within the group, and we've mentioned them coming on in the game, that get 20, 25 minutes, and that works towards them being in a good spot. And for the guys that have not had an awful lot of football up until now, listen, there's not a player on that field tonight that hasn't put themselves in a wonderful spot in my mind, and also shown what a very good squad we have. Again, this is a tough place. Those guys, a lot of them have not played a lot of soccer, and they've really, really come up trumps tonight. And I'm so pleased for all of those players.
One final question by Drake Hills.
Gary, I'm wanting to fact check this real quick. I saw on the broadcast saying that you truly believe that going into this October setup and the schedule, and obviously going back home, you got back-to-back matches that you're going into now, and that in this Eastern Conference and this team being ready for playoff picture soccer, that 26 points is a magic number. Is that truly the magic number for Nashville in terms of being ready for the playoffs?
Well, I think given some of the analytic background work that has been done, of course, it's extremely difficult in a season that is so unnatural to be perfect about any number that we need to hit. But that seems to be a bit of a benchmark for the group. And I have said to a number of people that going back home, having 4 games at home, will certainly give us a lift. Does it make it any easier to win a game? I think it gives the players more confidence. It certainly keeps the process of each match simpler in this difficult schedule and campaign we have. But tonight's win obviously puts us in a position that we might not have expected before we got on the plane today. And, we still have plenty of work in front of us. There's no doubt about that. But, tonight we just made that challenge a little bit easier. And whilst we've got some very, very difficult games at home, we know exactly what we're running into. The guys will be full of confidence and ready for that challenge.
Thank you very much, Coach. Tell us about today's performance and then your goals tonight.
Yeah, it was a good performance. I'm very happy for the guys because many new players played today. They were waiting for their chance, and we have a great squad. We have many players. They're able to play, and I'm very happy for them that they showed it, because they showed every day in training, and they well deserve the chance.
Congratulations, Jhondder. Hoy tuviste la oportunidad de debutar después de varios meses esperando este momento. ¿Cómo te sentiste? I just asked Jhondder about finally making his debut for the club after a month or so preparing for it.
Sí, me sentí bien. Después de tanto tiempo poder volver a jugar. Ya eran 7 meses sin jugar. Un poco cansado, normal. Vengo sin ritmo futbolístico, pero nada, feliz por mi debut. El equipo poder ganar, feliz por Hany por los 2 goles y por Abu también. Y nada, más que todo feliz en lo colectivo y en lo personal, nada, seguir trabajando para encontrar rápido mi mejor forma física.
I feel very well. Obviously, it's been 7 months that I have not been able to play, so I feel tired. I don't have that game rhythm or match rhythm. But I'm happy. I'm happy for my teammate. I'm happy for the win. And I'm happy at the collective level. At the personal level, I need to continue working and get ready for the next opportunity. We'll now open the floor for questions. We will begin with a question from Dre Hills for you, Hany.
Yeah, Hany, you've mentioned in the previous past games that you want to elevate your performances and you challenge yourself to do much better. In this game, it wasn't necessarily just about the goals. You were also involved in the link-up play with Taylor to set up Danladi's goal. I mean, was this game the most complete game in your opinion? And if you could be critical of yourself, would there be anything that you would want to add to tonight's performance for you?
Yeah, I would say I'm the most critical person to myself with my dad, and I'm always looking for doing better stuff and better things. But yeah, today was I really liked the connection with Taylor, Matt, and Brian, and really worked well. I know they're from training, and I know especially the guys behind me what their strengths is, and they really work hard against the ball. And I told them that when you have the possibility, try to find me and try to bring me in the game. And I think it worked very well. And I will always work hard. I always continue because I want to make the team better, and that's why I'm here.
Tim Sullivan with For Club and Country with another question for you, Hany.
Hany, obviously the other two goals were equally important, but on the first goal, what did you see as that play developed from playing the ball back to Abu to touching the ball around the center back and the finish?
Yeah, to be honest, the first, I wanted to chip the ball, but the goalkeeper waited pretty long, so I decided just to put it in the corner. But I'm happy that I could help the team with the first goal. And the most important is that we are coming close to the playoffs spots, and I think for us as a team, it's very important that we see that we are able to score goals, that we able to play attractive football. And I mean, every football player, Jhondder is a striker, me, I'm an offensive midfield player. We want to play, and that's very important for our team for the next steps because we have many goals in this club.
Are there any other questions tonight, or do we let these two guys get some rest? One more question from Tim Sullivan. Actually, one question for you, Jhondder. Tim?
I was going to try to ask it in Spanish, but I'm too nervous, so I won't.
Oh, come on, Tim.
No, I'm not going to now.
Help me here.
Well, Chris, I got to give you work to do, huh?
Oh.
Jhondder, how do you, I guess, take on the expectations as the new signing, the mid-season signing, and finish the season strong individually and with the team?
Para ti, ¿qué expectativas te marcas como equipo y ahora individualmente en el modo que estamos cerrando la temporada?
Como equipo, el objetivo que tenemos todos, que es clasificar a la siguiente fase, ¿no? Y después llegar lo más lejos posible. Y personal, bueno, por lo que me contrataron, yo vine para acá a hacer goles, es mi trabajo, y también ayudar mucho al equipo. Como dice Hany, somos un equipo que hasta ahora había hecho pocos goles, pero esperemos poco a poco a hacer más goles y que el equipo tenga más unión y vamos todos juntos para adelante.
As a team, obviously our goal is to make the playoffs and go as far as we possibly can. As a person, an individual, obviously I was signed to score goals. That's my job, and to help the team. So my goal is to exactly that: score more goals, have some unity, help the team to get that objective. Sorry. Any Gentry Estes with the Tennessean with a question for you, Hany.
Yeah, Hany, I'm just curious what you've seen from Jhondder in training so far, and what do you feel like he could bring to the club?
Yeah, he's a box striker. You can see that from the beginning, and he's a how you call that? I would say in German, if you translate it, a wall player who can hold the balls and give it for the guys which are coming from the midfield. And yeah, we expect. I mean, the most important, we as a team, we need to support him that he can show his best level. It's not about making pressure on one player. That's not our team about it. We are 11 or 18, 25 good players, and if we can, when we 11 on the pitch with Jhondder, the other 10 have to help him, have to lift him, that he can show his quality. And I mean, of course, he have a lot of quality, but we as his teammate, we need to help him, especially in the beginning, that he have a good start here.